family and friends. Welcome to my channel. I'm Kanoi. Confession, I actually quit on Junk Journal July.
So, what I found is that putting all the pressure on myself to do these tasks and do these challenges was actually keeping me from doing what I love to do, which is actually journaling. And I found that I was getting really backed up on all of my journal entries. And then we went on vacation. So then I really couldn't do it anyway because I didn't have all my supplies with me. So I just told myself, why am I putting all this pressure on myself to continue something that is not truly bringing me the joy that junk journaling brings to me? I'm really happy that I at least tried it, and I loved the prompts that I did end up doing, but I have so much journaling that I actually want to get done. So I said, I'm going to put it on hold. Maybe I'll come back to it. But for now, I really need to document what I just did on this vacation that I went on. So we went to Portland, Oregon. We went out to the coast of Oregon, the Oregon coast. And so here I have a postcard and a ton of pictures. I must have taken so many photos because it was just so pretty. So I did some journaling on the back of that postcard, and I am just tipping it into that page there. We also went to eat donuts at a place called Heavenly Donuts, by the way. If you ever go to Oregon, that donut place is delicious. And also at the Oregon airport, they have so many, they do it right. They do it right with all of the tourist magazines, maps, and great paper products. It was like a junk journaler's heaven. I had to keep myself from taking every single magazine. So I am just cutting off the flap of Heavenly Donuts here, and I am just stapling it in to create a pocket or a tuck spot. And I really wanted to find a spot to put this photo of all of the flowers. And really, this isn't even all of them. I took a lot of pictures of flowers because they were so pretty. I think it's funny how we appreciate flowers so much more, or at least I do in my older age. So I am just sifting through all of my little Bindi papers. Her journaling kits are so cute. I say this all the time, but I appreciate them because I'm not very good at having a bunch of supplies out and ready. I don't really plan before I start journaling. So having these journaling kits handy really helps me to be able to decorate a little bit more than just plastering pictures everywhere, which is probably what I would have ended up doing if I didn't have these journaling kits by me. And it really just makes things so simple because they're so cute, and it goes with that eclectic feel that I really like to have in my journal anyway. She has labels, she has background papers, all kinds of really fun odds and ends. So it just makes it so easy. So here I am simply putting a label saying beautiful flowers of Oregon and moving on to the next day or the next element that I had, which here I have a McMenamins. I don't know if that's a menu, it's or a pamphlet. There's several McMenamins in Oregon. This one just happened to be in McMinnville in Oregon. It honestly was a very bad meal that we had, so I wanted to journal about it. I'm not super picky when it comes to food, but that one was just exceptionally terrible. We had to wait an hour for our food, and so I definitely wanted to make note of that. And I just used another printable doily from Little Bindi or Johanna and wrote a little note there and then moved on. So here I have some photos of Depot Bay, which is the town we were staying in on the Oregon coast. And it's funny because this particular page here, and pardon the shaking of the camera, I kept hitting my stand, but this page here was intended for the nature prompt because it says nature on it. It's a book page, and clearly I'm not going to do it, but you know what? We can just say, hey, this is my nature entry. I didn't get really creative with it. It's actual entry that I needed to do anyway, so it works out perfectly. So I'm just taking photos from Depot Bay, and this page here is from a magazine that I found at the airport of the Oregon coast, and I'm just using this double-sided tape to place these pictures down because I feel like this tape just holds a little bit better than a glue stick. Glue sticks tend to lift, especially on, plasticky type of surfaces. So anything with a photo, I usually try to tape it down. So I'm just writing welcome to Depot Bay here, and talking about all of the beautiful nature that surrounded us. We saw whales. These pictures were actually right outside of the house we were staying in. There were whales right inside that bay. It was Pirates Cove. There were seals on the rock. And then my camera died. But there were seals on the rock. There were eagles, pelicans, all kinds of beautiful things that we could stare at. Of course, the evergreen trees. Oh, gosh, it was just breathtaking. And the sunsets were gorgeous. And then, as you can see on the left there, I actually ended up, before my camera died, I put a piece of acetate and then just tucked a couple more pictures in. And placing a botanical sticker. I wish I had placed it on the left. It's so funny how your perspective from the camera's view is so different from when it's right in front of you. I always do that. I see things that I'll start to place and I'm like, yes, put it down. And then I don't put it down and I'm like, darn it. I wish I would. I wish I could look at my journaling through the lens of, my phone or the camera. And once again, finding another background piece from Little Bindi. I think this is from the July kit. So cute. This one had a lot of really vintage storybook images in it, which is my favorite right now. That is my favorite look. And I feel like Johanna has really honed in on that kind of look of junk journals. A lot of people do the vintage things, but and that has become almost commercial. But she really does this like beautiful storybook type of journaling, and I love it. A lot of other people do it too, but she's just the one that I noticed first. So that's why I talk about her a lot. And once again, just placing some photos down. This was from our first day at the bay, and my daughter knows how much I love flowers. So she went and picked some daisies. There was a little daisy bush right outside of our house, and she picked a bunch for me and for her daddy. And we, of course, had to take photos. So she and I were just grabbing a couple of flowers, and we took a seat on the bench right outside of the bay. It was just perfect. I don't know how to explain it. The weather was perfect. It was sunny. There were no clouds. I know a lot of the time when people tell me about Portland, they always say that Oregon can be cloudy, and I guess summertime is different, but it was just so gorgeous. We were so blessed with such beautiful weather, and everything just ended up being so perfect. So I feel like I'm still kind of learning the placement of items, and that's the beauty of junk journaling, is just doing without thinking too hard and learning along the way. Watching other people, seeing how they place items down, and figuring out the spacing. And there goes my camera again, shaking. And I love these images here that Johanna creates because it's just the perfect amount of space to be able to do some journaling and not feeling the pressure to have to write pages. So I took that last picture of me and figured I would just place that right in the beginning of my journal, which was begin. That was the first prompt. And I thought that's perfect for me to just place a photo of me right there because that was the beginning of our Oregon journey. So here I'm just taking my little summer box where I had some ephemera pieces in there for my summer junk journal and grabbing out all of, the sunshine and summer pieces so that I can do some journaling on them. We did hit the beach. It was incredible. Even though I come from Hawaii and see the most beautiful beaches, this one was really no comparison. It had so many different things that we've never seen before, all of the different rocks and all of the sea creatures. There were mussels, just thousands of mussels on the rocks, sea anemones, really neat things for my kids. They loved it. And it was so picturesque. I mean, we could have sat there all day and just taken photo after photo. There's a starfish there that my brother found, and I loved it. It was so relaxing. Our cups were overflowing on this day. And then the next day we actually went back. So this place was called Agate Beach. Agate is a type of rock or mineral. And we went back because my son actually wanted to go surfing. And this water was, the next morning, it was 47 degrees, which to me is just insane. I mean, I come from surfing 80 something degree weather. And by the way, I'm putting this tab on there and it ended up being way too out there, so I had to cut it in half. But anyway, we did end up going surfing. We had to, of course, get a wetsuit and a hood. We needed booties. We needed gloves. We needed all the things because it was that cold. I really thought I could handle it. I had surfed in California before with a wetsuit and it wasn't that bad, but oh my goodness. So here I ended up doing one of those really touristy pennies, those what do you call them, where you roll the penny through and it squashes them and puts a little image in it. So that one was of Depot Bay. And I actually meant to get them everywhere I was at because those were all over the place, but I kept forgetting. And who carries change nowadays? To find 51 cents in your purse anymore is hard because we use cards. But I did manage to make one. So I just placed it in a little baseball card holder, cut it down, and taped it in there. And so here is the photo of my son and me surfing the next day. And it was just interesting, the things that we had to learn about the surf culture there and how, the thing called the ice cream headache. When you go under the water, you actually get a headache, like when you eat ice cream too fast. And they were telling us, you have to breathe out through your nose. And I just thought that is just way too much to think about. Like, I'm just trying to hold my breath when you go under the waves. So I did end up catching a wave, and that was enough for me to say that I did it. So I wrote beach days here with my brush pen, but I actually didn't like the way that it looked. So I took a journaling card and just decided to tape over that. Again, one of the things I love about junk journaling is you can always fix a mistake, and it doesn't need to look like, it wasn't there. I mean, clearly I'm putting something there because it just wasn't cute. To be honest with you, I am not super stoked with any of these entries, but I just wanted to get them in there. And usually what happens is I won't be happy with it, and then I'll end up going back and adding stickers whenever I have the time to finally go through my stash and kind of look for the things that match the theme. I know I have a lot of beach stuff. I know I have a lot of travel stuff, but I just didn't want to take the time to have to go look for it because otherwise, I would have never started journaling. So here is my luggage tag, and also we ended up passing the Evergreen Air Museum, which was really cool. They had a space museum and an air museum, and of course we said, okay, well, we're definitely going to come back here. So we did. On our way back to Portland, we actually stopped at this museum and spent the day there. And it was really neat because my husband's a pilot. My son is wanting to be a pilot, so he got to fly the simulators. And then my husband got to sit in the seat that Howard Hughes sat in of the Spruce Goose. If you know what the Spruce Goose is, then you know what I'm talking about. But it was a plane that was built of just wood, all wood, by Howard Hughes. And my husband was like wet in his pants seeing this plane. So, and then I actually sat in the journalist seat that Marilyn Monroe once sat in on the 32nd flight that this plane took. It only flew for 30 seconds, one flight. So I just am doing some journaling about that in the extra space. This is just some coffee dyed notebook paper. And I simply place the photos down, not super decorated, just getting the items in here. Very junky. And then our last day in Oregon, when we were driving back after the museum, we found the cutest little homemade ice cream diner called Alf's. And this had to have been the best ice cream we have ever had in our entire lives. If you ever go there, get the flavor butter brickle. It was so good. So I just took a photo of my husband and kids having some ice cream. I took a photo of the shop, put a little vintage filter on it because it just seems so fitting. But my camera started running out. I did some journaling, and that pretty much ended this day of catch-up journaling. So I appreciate you being here and watching all the way through. Please give it a thumbs up if you can and will. And I hope to see you again on another process video. Thanks for watching.